Easter Special. It wasn't the nails that held him. There is a common picture we've all seen. Jesus, on the cross. Nails in his hands, nails in his feet, a crown of thorns on his head. And for a long time, many people believed it was the nails that held him there. But if you look closely, it wasn't. Because the same Jesus who hung on that cross was the one who walked on water. The same Jesus who was beaten was the one who calmed storms with his voice. The same Jesus who was crucified was the one who raised the dead. So no, it wasn't the nails, because nails don't hold God. Love does. Let's go back to the beginning of that moment. The Garden of Gethsemane. It was dark, quiet, heavy. Jesus knew what was coming. The betrayal, the pain, the cross. And for the first time, we see something deeply human. He prayed, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." This was not weakness, this was weight. The weight of sin, the weight of sacrifice, the weight of becoming what he never was, so we could become what we never were. But then he said something that changed everything. "Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done." That was the real battle, not on the cross, but in surrender. Then came the betrayal. Judas, a kiss. Not an attack, not a fight, a kiss. Sometimes the deepest pain doesn't come from enemies. It comes from people who were close. Jesus was arrested, not because he was powerless, but because he was willing. They beat him, mocked him, spat on him, placed a crown of thorns on his head, not realizing they were crowning a king. They gave him a cross to carry, heavy, rough, painful, and he carried it through the streets, falling, bleeding, struggling. Until he reached Golgotha, they laid him down, stretched his hands, and drove nails through them. Can you imagine that moment? The sound, the pain, the silence that followed, and still, he stayed. They lifted the cross, and there he hung, between heaven and earth, rejected by men, yet fulfilling divine purpose. People mocked him. "If you are the Son of God, come down." But they didn't understand. If he came down, we would remain bound. So he stayed, and then he said something that doesn't make human sense. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Who forgives like that? Who loves like that? This wasn't ordinary love, this was sacrificial love. Darkness covered the earth, the weight of sin was heavy. And then, Jesus cried out, "It is finished." Not, "I am finished," but "It is finished." The assignment, the sacrifice, the payment, finished. And he gave up his spirit. Everything went silent. Hope seemed lost. The disciples scattered. Fear took over. The one they believed in was now buried. A stone was rolled over the tomb, and for 2 days, it looked like the story had ended. But God is never finished when it looks like it's over. On the 3rd day, very early in the morning, a woman named Mary went to the tomb, not expecting a miracle, just coming to mourn. But when she arrived, the stone was rolled away. The tomb was empty. Angels said, "Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, he is risen." Death couldn't hold him, the grave couldn't keep him, the stone couldn't stop him. Jesus rose, not just for himself, but for us. And here is the real meaning of Easter. It wasn't just an event. It was an exchange. He took our sin and gave us forgiveness. He took our shame and gave us grace. He took our death and gave us life. So no, it wasn't the nails that held him. It was love. Love that chose the cross. Love that endured the pain. Love that refused to give up on humanity. Now ask yourself this. What do you do with a love like this? Because Easter is not just something to watch. It's something to respond to. If Jesus gave his life for you, will you give your heart to him? If you believe Jesus died and rose again for you, type, "He did it for me." And if this message touched you, share it with someone. Because this story is not just history, it is life.